Today, we are joined by Chris Bates, partner at December Capital, a search fund based in France. Chris has significant experience leading M&A teams in transforming and scaling ambitious businesses. He also has worked with global companies like Uber. Chris, thank you for speaking with us today about the opportunities for search funds in 2021. So, according to you, what are the key challenges and opportunities in terms of launching a search fund in France in the current economic pandemic climate?
We luckily have come at a time where the world has adapted to some extent to the new normal. So the fundraising phase of the search fund has not been impacted too heavily by the pandemic. If anything, the pandemic is rather seen as an opportunity for the search fund model, with expectations of an acceleration of business owners ready to move on to something else. So more opportunities for us. The main challenge has been as a result of confinement, though, structuring how we work together in a situation where we are rarely able to see each other face to face. But thanks to all the latest productivity tools available on the market, like Google products, which we use heavily, including Hangouts, Google Sheets, Slides, where you could have multiple people working on the same document at the same time. We've been able to adapt pretty easily.
Thank you, Chris. So, we would like to also know your thoughts on single searcher versus dual searcher funds, and could you please share your process in terms of partnering for December Capital?
The evidence suggests that dual searchers are more successful at acquiring businesses, which also partly explains why dual searchers end up generating higher average IRRs. At least I suspect that's one of the reasons. Having a buddy for the journey, so there's that financial aspect of it. Another one is like having a buddy for the journey is also just, it's useful and it's motivating. There's always some problem to solve, so having a sparring partner, make sure that you're challenging your own positions before you too quickly take a decision. And there are also always some tough days and tough weeks. And so having someone who is along for the ride with you helps you power through those tough times. And the inverse is also true. There are also weeks where things are going great, and it's just nice to share that with somebody. All that being said, hats off to the single searchers. So it's a lonely journey, so they don't get the same benefit of having the partner with them the whole time. And it takes a special kind of person to stay at 100% for up to 2 years. And the ones that do it and do it successfully, that's just really impressive. And on the financial aspect of it, like the IRRs of individual searchers are also really good. So hats off to them. But for Gabrielle and for myself, the dual search was the way to go. In regards to our process, we met only last summer, which is not at all the traditional path for search fund partners. So most partners have some sort of history with each other, either from school or from having worked together. I suspect this is true of most partnerships, not just of search funds. So with that in mind, we were quite rational that this was a big risk for us personally, deciding to work together, as well as very practically for potential investors. So we needed to take reasonable steps to mitigate that risk. Really, the last thing that we wanted was to start a journey with each other, and 1 year into it, or 2 years into it, even 3 years into it, decide that we're just not at all a good fit with each other and break it off. So we had to be smart. So what we did is we came up with a robust process to assess each other, including workshops to map our competencies, our experiences, and our work ethics, just to make sure we are complementary on these aspects. We did another workshop where we laid out business problems we'd both faced in the past to see how the other one would try to solve it. And the idea of this was to figure out where we would end up, where the other person would end up with the solution, and whether or not it would be in a completely different place, to basically identify if we had completely discordant views on how to solve problems. Beyond that, we did personality tests, which were facilitated by a consultant with whom we had a 3-hour workshop afterward to analyze and interpret the results. And then we spent a day uh, outside of the realm of search funds with an executive coach, just to see each other sort of in a different light besides pure business. The last thing we did was we had a dinner with our respective others. So Gabrielle's wife and my fiance. The idea of that was that they would basically get the final thumbs up, thumbs down on the other person, and then throughout the whole process, we spent 2 or 3 days a week. So all in all, we spent about 3 months together going through this process to really make sure that we were confident that we wanted to work together and that we were definitely going to be able to. This partnership was going to be able to add a lot of value. And since then, it's just been a great journey. And then in terms of like on the investor side, we've gotten really nothing but good feedback on this process that we went through from all the investors. And that's almost universal. The feedback that we've gotten, that it's been very positive. And so even though we met less than a year ago, because of this process, this has never been a blocker.
Right. Thank you, Chris. Thank you for your time and valuable insights on search funds in France. My kindest regards to you, Gabriel, and the entire team of December Capital.